Hello and welcome to Diamond Cast, the music show with Diamond Black. This week we're closing out Musicians Mental Health Month with our final episode in the series, dedicated to something we all face, those tough moments that life throws at us, from grief, stress, chaos, anything that's outside of our control that comes towards us and stops us in our tracks. But don't worry, it's not all doom and gloom, as we talk about how music can help us stay grounded, how creativity can be a lifeline in those times of stress, and what we've learned about keeping the fire fit when things hit the fan. Plus, we've got an update on the Fall Into the Silence video, so stay tuned for that. And of course, as always, tea. Let's get into it. Hello, and welcome to our final episode in our Musicians Mental Health Month series. It's also the day of recording. It's St. George's Day, which is the day we celebrate England.
England. I've got
not just the football team.
Union Jack waistcoat on, because I couldn't find my English shirt.
I hoped it was a cardigan, because that felt even more English.
That's true, actually, yeah.
A cup of tea and a cardigan.
That's probably on the bingo card talking about.
Have you got a cup of tea?
No, I don't. Oh, damn.
No, but I'm often thinking about one. Does that count?
Yeah, that's very English, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yorkshire tea.
Yeah, proper. And on the scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the darkest, 1 being the lightest, what colour is both you guys tea?
I mean, wait, what's the darker one? 10.
Like 10 is the darkest. Like you've hardly put any milk in it whatsoever.
I'll probably like fucking 7, 8, 7, 6.
What about you, Nat?
I'm milky, but
I don't put milk in my tea.
no, Natalie's.
What?
Natalie goes
What?
No, she's crazy.
I have black tea, I'm sorry.
That's just, wow. Do you put anything else in it at all? Like
No tea bag.
Just black water.
A spoon. Stir it, take it out.
It's pretty goth.
It's very goth, isn't it? No sugar, no honey, no. Wow.
But I was staying with my auntie this week, and she made me a coffee, and she said I should put oat milk in it, which I don't normally do, but I put a tiny splodge in, so it was about number 2 on the shade, and it was actually quite nice. So I felt a little bit weird about that, but
okay, well, oat milk and coffee, particularly if you get the barista one, which is specially made to mix with.
it's quite creamy. It added a creaminess to it that I wasn't expecting.
It's good, very good. What about a cup of tea? Would you have biscuits with it?
If it's biscuit time.
British thing,
Maybe.
isn't it?
I don't know. I normally only have a cup of tea like first thing in the morning, so it's a bit weird going straight into a biscuit in the morning.
Yeah, biscuits more of a afternoon tea, watching countdown.
That's why it's 4 o'clock.
Game shows, yeah.
That's not 4 o'clock. Yeah. So you have your biscuits with your tea, but then they'd have to be like original, like malted milks on like rich tea biscuits or something.
I don't have crumpets for breakfast.
They can't be with chocolate on them or anything like that. They have to be ones you can dunk.
Yeah.
So very, very kind of classic, not boring, let's say wholesome biscuits.
Boring.
Like the rich tea, the digestive, as you've suggested. That was
the hobnob.
That didn't mean to rime. Let's get into one of Vinny's raps now. The digestive that you suggested.
Nice.
Thank you.
Benny C and Vinny V back, although Vinny V's not here, so
good segue.
Where is he? He gets back.
Where is he? He's in Budapest, isn't he?
Oh, I know.
Go on.
Well, he's getting some drumsticks or something.
Yes, yeah. He said he was really, really cryptic. He said, "I can't be there because I'm in Budapest picking up some drumsticks."
You'd think he'd have brought them with him, really.
Well, yeah. I would guess that it's something like he's halfway through a tour and he needs more, or he's getting some specially endorsed Super Vinny V ones,
cool.
Something like that. So yeah, that's That's what. And he's on tour at the moment, and you know, as we know, it's quite difficult sometimes to predict where we're going to be and if there's going to be Wi-Fi and if there's going to be a room in which you can actually speak and stuff. So I think you know he had every intention of being here, but just at the last minute didn't work out.
Whenever we go on tour, we have to have on our little daily planner sheet. We always have to list a local music shop because there's nearly always something has to be picked up before most gigs.
Oh yeah, you do that,
something breaks
don't you?
or something like that. Yeah.
I've seen you go to one or like look for it.
Something's always broken or need to buy a new tuner or something like that.
Yeah, and because often there are issues with the amount of weight of stuff you can take, you can't just go, I just can take all my stuff with me. You've got to be quite select about what you take because of space and weight, which means that sometimes you don't have spares nor enough spares or whatever, or something breaks unexpectedly. I don't know if you guys have I showed you this. I'm quite excited about this.
Okay,
right, check this out.
Wait. Soundboard.
So when I was just recently on tour, one of the volume controls or the volume pots on my SG broke. So we didn't have another black one. So my Cathartic replaced it with a gold one.
Interesting.
Right? And I quite like it. It reminds me a bit of when people do their nails and they do like 3 black ones and 1 gold.
Yeah.
It was quite cool. And also it's the most important one because it's the volume.
Yeah.
So quite good for navigating in gig situation of where's the volume, it's there. So yeah.
Go to 11.
Well, yeah, this one now does. Yeah, it didn't before.
Listen to the sustain on it.
Yeah, I am not hearing anything. Well, you would if it was playing.
It's good.
Spinal Tap quote, bingo card.
Yeah.
Have you seen the new film yet?
No.
Oh, we were going to do a trailer reaction thing, so I don't think we watched the trailer specifically because we were going to do it on the cast.
So we could do it on the cast, but we haven't watched it yet. So I've no knowledge even when the film was out or is out because I didn't watch the trailer, and that's when it tells you.
Same. So that's still something we can use. Absolutely.
Everyone's probably seen it by now. It's like we're going to react to the trailer.
Yeah, but we'll react when it's not cool and obvious to react anymore. You know,
that's what we do.
Yeah, deaf. Yeah.
Okay, that sounds fun. We'll do that in the future. We've got some really good episodes coming up over the next month. Actually, we've just been sitting there planning them all.
Nice.
So we're going to do an in-person one when we do the video shoot in the beginning of May, which is really exciting.
Well, like a proper, like when we did in Hellfest, all sat around the sofa, like it's ITV morning television.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'll get some special mugs. We'll get some special mugs done.
Yes.
Biscuits.
Yeah.
And the biscuits, yeah. You can do the tea question again.
Yeah.
So yeah, that should be really fun. And we've got a really good location for it as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the video fundraiser has been going really well. So thank you for everyone.
Oh yeah, it has, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thank you for hitting the bink every time, guys. We really appreciate it, and yeah, it's super encouraging for us to feel supported like this, and able to get on with making cool things. Yeah. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wait, examples.
Hey. Thanks. So it's the last episode of the Musicians Mental Health Month, bringing to a close April. So we've talked about so far about sobriety and creativity. We've talked about determination and drive, and we're going to finish it off with something that's close to you guys' hearts because you wrote a song about it. Only you can find your own way through the misery. And misery could take on many different forms. It could be to do with stress or chaos or something that's going on in life when life hits the fan and that kind of thing. So we just thought it'd be nice to kind of, on the theme of getting yourself out of a bad situation, so that people have got these, hopefully, some tools to go away with and think about in the future.
Great. Yeah, absolutely.
So let's get into it.
Okay.
When life hits hard, how do you show up creatively when you're dealing with stress or chaos?
Okay, it's tough to be creative when you're scared or when you're worried. I've certainly found that in order to, sorry, the bong.
Not the smoking bong.
Okay, start again.
The noise bong.
Yeah, this. I found it quite difficult to be creative when I feel worried or stressed or scared because my mind is running on overdrive about something else. And in order to feel creative and productive, I generally like to feel safe and in a comfortable situation. So it can be quite challenging. How I've managed to find ways of working around it is to go, okay, so this thing that I'm worried about, firstly, okay, yeah, I look back on life's experience and I recognize that so many times, like literally hundreds of times now, I've catastrophized about something and it hasn't happened, or it's been a much, much smaller and manageable version has happened. So I try and sort of speak to myself compassionately like that. It's helpful, but at the same time, when we feel anxious about stuff, it's often not a cortex based thing. And I've recently learned about how the cortex is the thinking part of our brain and the amygdala is the reactive part of our brain. So the amygdala is what makes you jump out of the way of like a car if suddenly out of nowhere it comes. You don't even think about it, you just do it to protect yourself. But the cortex is about thinking rationally through issues and problems. And sometimes when you feel just generally scared and you've got this anxiety, then your amygdala, so that kind of primal brain, is just making you feel bad and you don't really know why. So you can think your way out of stuff using the cortex to go, okay, rationally speaking, yes, this is fine. But at the same time, this amygdala is still going because it's trying to protect you. So you have to do things that really occupy your mind while still showing compassion to the fact that your brain is trying to protect you. So what I've done is called focus scheduling. Okay. So if there's something that I'm concerned about, rather than just sit and think about it, or rather than go, I can't think about that, stop thinking about it, because then you just think about it more. I schedule a time to think about it. So I think, okay, I'm going to really think about that tomorrow. I might even make a spreadsheet about it. At say 2 p.m. tomorrow, I'm going to think about that. I don't need to think about it before then. Go on.
Is this like a task that you have to do, or is it like a worry that you want to solve?
A worry that it can be either, but let's say it's a worry that you want to solve. Say it's something that you're concerned about, maybe that's coming up at the end of the week. It's Monday now. You don't have to do anything about it until, like maybe you're meeting up with someone and you're a bit worried about the meeting that you're going to have with them. Maybe your boss, you want to ask for a raise, or maybe there's a friend that you want to confront about something, or maybe a friend is confronting you about something, and whatever it is, some sort of stressful situation that you can't really do anything in the moment about it, especially as you're at work and you're trying to be creative, or you're trying to enjoy some other time. So instead of just going, I'm going to not think about that because it's not happening till Friday, like I'm going to the dentist or something, I go, okay, I'm going to actually focus schedule a time to think about it. So in the moment, I can go, it's okay, brain. We are going to think about that. Don't freak out, because I know you're trying to protect me because you think we should think about it. We are going to think about it, just not right now. We're going to think about it tomorrow, maybe. And then the idea being that calms you down, because you go, okay, brain, we are thinking about it. We're not ignoring it. We are going to think about it. And you can then get on with doing something productive or creative, which generally makes you feel better because you're doing something that is gives you sort of a chemical endorphin release of creation and production and something you're passionate about. And then the next day you go, okay, this is the time when I'm going to now think about this thing. The way that I like to think about things is make spreadsheets and pros and cons lists, and what do I think could happen, and what would I do if that happened, and just give it a bit of focus.
You've got like a flowchart in your head of if it does happen, you can refer to the flowchart. Yeah,
but also trying not to get too like bogged down in the idea of trying to control the outcomes. It's more to do with giving yourself some time to think about, okay, this meeting I'm going to have with my boss to ask for a raise, or that I want to quit, or whatever it is. What's the worst thing that could possibly happen? And then sort of write it out and go, okay, well then
like you don't get the raise, they say no.
Yeah, and then so what happened? What would you do next? Okay, well then, and then often you can, when you sort of talk it out with yourself and you look through the different scenarios, you realize that the worst thing actually isn't that bad, or maybe there's some things that are good about not getting the raise. Okay, finally it pushes you to leave the job you kind of wanted to anyway, or there are other ways that you can look at it positively. So I think that focus scheduling has allowed me to go, all right, so today I'm going to work on this music because there's a deadline. So perhaps there's a deadline that you need to keep to, and therefore you want to stop freaking out and worrying about stuff. So putting it later, just going, I'll think about that later. And what can often happen when you focus schedule things is by the time the focus time, the date comes around, the problem has sort of solved itself. Maybe in the interim between Monday and Tuesday, your boss actually rang you and said, oh, I was thinking about giving you a raise. What do you think? And you're like, oh, wicked. But if
They
you
never do that.
Well, bad example perhaps. But if you then spent the entire morning just fretting about it and not doing any work, then you wouldn't have created and produced the work that you've done, or you wouldn't have been able to have a nice time with your family, or you wouldn't have been able to relax and watch that movie or whatever, because you've been freaking out about something, which in the end you didn't even need to freak out about.
So it's a way to stop yourself having a freak out about something you can't control at that moment in time and continue to enjoy your life.
Yes, exactly that. And whilst telling your brain that's trying to protect you, that's going, hey, listen, you need to think about this thing. We're in danger in some way. Going, chill out, brain, because we are going to think about it, just not right now.
That's good. To think about, when you've got this worry and sometimes you don't know what it is, but you're like, I'm worried about something. What is it? And you're distracted because you're doing something else like day to day. And then it's like, oh, there's something that's really worrying me. And then you remember and you're like, oh no, this thing I can't control that I have to think about. So it's good to be able to say, right, we're not going to think about it today at all, because I know there's some time for me to think about it at 5 o'clock tomorrow. And then you can do it then.
Well, I think it's quite interesting about us working together and doing all this is I think I have completely the opposite mindset to you, because I'm more like don't put off tomorrow what you can do today, because sometimes if I've got like something I really don't want to do, the worry about doing it is worse than the actual task. And so if I put it off, then I'm like, oh God, I've got to do this thing. It's really horrible. And then when you've done it, it's like, oh, it wasn't that bad. What did I spend so much time worrying about it for? So it's like,
if you can do it, if you have the capability of doing it
today,
today.
Set on a certain date, but like, doing especially like tedious things like for the companies or business and stuff, like you get it out of the way, and then you can do more enjoyable things afterwards.
Yeah, I think that's
like
really valid.
So it depends what your way of working is, I guess, or what works best for you.
That's definitely valid. And that phrase, what was it? Never put off till tomorrow what you can do today. Yeah, I absolutely believe in that. And I think that's great. I think what I was, I guess I was a bit meandering about the way I said it, but it was something that you can't do today.
Yeah, sure.
But you're just you're just thinking about it and spinning your wheels about it, and it's stopping you from doing other things.
Like if you have a hospital appointment and you're not sure how it's going to go.
Yeah, for example.
Well, I mean, things that you can't help, but
But those are things that can lead to a huge amount of stress and stop you from being able to be as productive and happy in the lead up to it, and things that you cannot do today. Like,
but then there's something you can't really control. That's quite natural worry. If you've got like a hospital appointment and stuff, you can't really do much
I think
about
that's the kind of chaos that or if you're worried about somebody else, or if you're worried about a test result or like an exam result that you've taken and you have to wait for the results for a period of time.
Exam result is a good one. An exam result could be an example of, okay, so it's Monday, you got exam result on Friday, and you're trying to do something constructive or fun on Monday, but you can't stop thinking about this exam result. So you go, okay, so tomorrow I'm going to spend some time thinking about what happens if the exam result isn't what I would like it to be. And then you give yourself a chance to look at what that actually means, rather than it just being this cloud of worry. Go, okay, say I didn't get the exam result I wanted, what would happen next? And just kind of talk it through yourself compassionately and see what the other options would be. And then you'll often find out that actually there's loads more options, and maybe there is like better things that could happen if you didn't get that result that you wanted.
I think it's try not to catastrophize as much as you possibly can. So I had like a blood test like a month ago, and waiting for the results. So I was like, oh my God, I'm going to die. This is going to be fucking awful. And I kept worrying about it all the time. And it's like, I don't want to listen. And then it comes back and I'm like, I've got no problems. I've got like complete all clear. And so it's like, I was like, oh, I didn't need to worry about I thought something existed that it doesn't. So I just spent time getting really het up about something that didn't even come true. So maybe try and don't always assume the worst. It's
good to know what you would do in that situation. Or
but it's also
like
good
you said, to kind of just prepare yourself that,
Yeah.
I know catastrophizing is a bad thing and you shouldn't, well, I'm going to die necessarily if there's no evidence to prove that before. But, you know, also what you did do in that time is probably act
But that's also because I've been putting off
right?
having a blood test for a long time, and so that goes against my sort of advice of like not putting things off.
Well, there you go. But then, so you could have avoided all of that worry if you didn't put it off. And I think that goes back then if you'd taken your own advice in the beginning and just like ripped the band-aid off and gone and done the scary thing, then you wouldn't have had to deal with any of the anxiety
and it
that you went
gets
through
worse,
waiting for
like,
a result.
the longer you put it off as well, because you've got no frame of reference. Anyway.
It's a
So
good,
maybe
another good
I'm
example.
a bit contradictory.
Well, I think we all are. We're just human, aren't we? And we're not coming here with we got the answer to everything. It's just here's some things that have happened to us and some things that have worked for us and some things that haven't. And and it's very fallible.
So what have you learned from that?
Me or Adam?
What have I learned?
What have you learned from that experience?
That I did well. I didn't need to worry so much. I shouldn't have put things off. And also, even if you got a blood test result, for example, and it came back and you have something, that you can then address it. So it's worse like to not know, because then you can't do anything about it. So,
and often I think we think in a very polarized way of either the result can come back and everything's amazing or you're dead. It's like it's those extremes. It's never like, oh, there's a slight deficiency of this, therefore you should maybe change your diet for this. Okay, great, that's really helpful. But
then you do it and then you're fine.
Yeah, but we tend to think in these polarized ways, and I guess a lot of that is from the way that the world is presented to us when we grow up, which is through a lot of movies and books and drama and everything, where either everything's amazing or everything's awful. And
it would be fun to watch if someone just had like 1 point of higher cholesterol that they could solve by just doing one bit of exercise a week.
Exactly. But this is the reality that we've sort of brought the concept of drama that maybe we're brought up with, and maybe also as we're creative types, we tend to think in more of a polarized way sometimes because of like being like creating drama in our artwork and our music and something that's has a lot of impact rather than creating or trying to do that. That's our goal anyway, rather than you don't sit down and write, I want to write a song that's really just sort of mediocre and nothing.
Well, with some bands, I don't know if they do it deliberately, but they definitely do.
Do you guys find it like cathartic and relaxing to create music whilst you are going through times of worry or stress, and it sort of helps, or do you find that you can't do it until you've solved the problem?
Again, I think that comes into the whole, can you solve the problem at that time? And if you can't, it can be a great source of comfort. I remember there was one time where I was worried about something and it was outside my control. And so what I did instead was I really focused on... Actually, do you remember the video of the music video of us kids in the house and with the rainbow stuff and all that? I was going through something when I edited that together. I was actually going through something really challenging, and that really helped me because I could spend a lot of time working on it and getting focused on it and feeling good about, wow, this is working really well. I'm really I'm really excited about the result of this, and forget for a while about the stressful thing.
That's something fun as well, isn't it? Doing something fun.
So I was sending my brain messages of safety of, I'm having a good time here. I'm creating something, and I have value because I can create something that makes me laugh and is fun. And then the thing got solved, and I was really happy that I'd spent that time creating something rather than just worrying about the thing.
You sometimes get into a flow state of focus as well when you've given your brain that safety, because it's like, I'm doing this thing now and I'm good at this thing, and I can see it. You know, I can see it developing, and then I've made that, and this didn't exist before I made this, and now I've made this thing, and then you're in a flow state, and nothing can disturb you from it, and it's sort of a nice little place. It doesn't have to be the thing you do for your main work either, because you said it was editing video, wasn't it? So it's not music, but then I think maybe that's the case for a lot of people who create stuff. Is what can you get into a flow state of that might not necessarily be your bread and butter, but is something that you really enjoy?
Yeah, definitely.
Music can be very enjoyable and also really frustrating. Some days I'll wake up and play piano and I'll just be like, this, I'm shit and I can't do anything, and I'll punch the keys and then I'll walk out. And then the next day I'll come back and be like, oh wow, this stuff had a breakthrough today and I'm really good. So you can't, sometimes you can't force it. You have to go away and come back.
Yeah, definitely.
Going away, there's a lot to be said for going away and coming back when it's
actually,
that
it's the same
frustration
with work.
as well.
Yeah, I go for a walk, clear your head, or go for a jog or gym or whatever works for you. Come back to it.
Yeah. And then sometimes you get ideas how to solve problems. We were talking about this before, how that you can get ideas for creative projects whilst you're having a walk or doing those things. But you actually can get ideas of how to solve problems that are stressful when you are moving around, like walking or running or whatever it is that you like to do. Fishing, I guess.
Yeah, you don't have to actually be doing the thing. You could just be thinking about how do I
Contemplating.
Yeah, or like, thinking of solutions. You don't actually have to be sitting in front of a computer, like pulling your hair out.
There's a lot to be said as well for like the slowness of life outside of whatever it is your life is. Because I went to spend some time with some family recently who just do their day to day, and that's like they do some gardening and they go out and they go see a friend and they have a coffee. I was like, there's no stress in your life at all. You're just doing things because you enjoy them and you contemplate, spend a lot of time. And I was like, there's no rush. There's no urgency to do anything. It's just nice and calm. And I was like, I want some of this in my life. I'm going to have to adopt some of this. But there's so much to be said for just having and contemplating.
They live outside of London, which probably helps.
Yeah. In the countryside with nice nature all around them and stuff. But it was a complete culture shock, I think, because it wasn't like, okay, we have 5 minutes, let's do this meeting really quickly or something. So yeah, and making some time to do that and just going for a walk and sitting down and like not having to do something like spent one Saturday reading a book in the park, just reading a book in the park.
Amazing.
Sit down, put picnic blanket down, have some food so you don't have to get up, and put some classical music on the speaker as well. So I was just sitting there and everyone else is just not there, but it was lovely because I felt like I was in my own little bubble and I was like, I don't have to move. This is great. And I was like, just enjoying the sun and the time and everything.
It's amazing. And that's just like, that's almost a human right, is to be able to do that, right? Of being a person, you should be allowed to do that. You should give yourself time to do that. Would you say that you were successfully being the sock?
Well, I almost forgotten about that.
Absolutely, successfully being the sock. Yeah, I think we've this Musicians Mental Health Month, we have made some breakthroughs. We are the sock.
We were gonna make a little sock puppet and put it on the
Don't tell him.
Oh, we did. A little vest on it. Right, what we got next?
What about actually listening to music to gain strength and to not have to carry pain alone, because music helps you through? I mean, we've talked about this before. We've been posting your songs that get you through bad times on the Instagram.
I can literally hijack my mood by listening to the right kind of music. Like,
oh yeah, how do you do that?
Well, if I'm like annoyed about something, I can put like Andrew WK on. I always mention him, and it's like cheers me up because it's really fun. And it's like, yeah, it's wicked, and so you can sort of positively influence the.
So one side of your brain literally like gaslights the other side of the brain into being happy.
Yeah, force yourself. You will be happy, and then
and the other side just goes, yeah, go on then, try me.
Well, it might not fix the problem, but I'm not pissed off anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good thing, actually. Calm down before you try and solve the problem. So if you hijack your mood so that you're not as angry or frustrated or sad or the extreme emotion, and then turn it down, and then you can solve the problem with the rational part of the brain, which Ben was talking about earlier.
Yeah, no, exactly that. And I had a similar situation with that recently, where I was speaking to my therapist and we did what's called a reprocessing therapy. And basically, I won't go into the details of it, but it's you think of something that you are perhaps worried about, and then you come up with a phrase. So say, for example, you're waiting for the exam test result. You think, okay, how do I feel? You go, okay, I am nervous. And you keep repeating the phrase, I am nervous, whilst doing this action, which for some people is a movement of their eyes, for others it's a tapping on the knees, and you just keep thinking about it and it calms you down. So you're able to then think about the issue in a practical and almost like like it's somebody else's problem then, and you're looking at it from the outside, and so you've taken all the emotion out of it and you're just looking at it logically and practically and go, oh, okay, so this situation, which isn't necessarily my one, it's just a situation, what advice would I almost give somebody else in this? And that can be really, really helpful way of doing it. So I find that really worked for me, and I came up with a really happy solution for the issue that I was dealing with, that kind of it shone a light on the truth of the situation and separated me from the emotion, which was creating barriers that wasn't allowing me to see what is the actual truth here, because fear and anxiety were getting in the way of that.
Is that like performing hypnotherapy on yourself?
Yes, it kind of is. Yeah. It's and it's quite a cool technique, which I'm learning a bit more about.
Cool. I was just trying it, like tapping my knee, but
That's the way you're looking down.
yeah.
I was just thinking about Serenity Now in Seinfeld, where he just shouts out all the time to try to calm down. Yeah.
But it doesn't help him, does it? It makes him more angry.
Sounds cool.
Every time he's like, that's why sometimes you see Adam like he's like this. Oh. How do you channel your misery into writing songs that become anthems that other people can then use to channel themselves out of their misery?
Well, I've got something to show you. Can you guys hear this, or is it cutting off?
Yeah, I can hear
We
it.
can hear it, yeah.
Okay, so there's a chord sequence that I really like to use, regardless of what key we're in, because I think it's like the saddest two chords you can put together, certainly in a rock kind of way, which is going from this one to, so you're going from to this.
What are those chords?
So in this key, it's D minor, saddest of all keys, and G minor. So you get, so in Sorrow it does that. The desperation and lies are slowly fading the skies, and words are so you've got that kind of really, really sad feeling on it. And Venom also does that on the chorus, but in a different key. So it's like, fears drag you down to where you've never been so lost. So I found that chord change just makes a really sad feeling. It's really useful to use if you're writing something that has an emotional weight to it. Now, you hear that a lot of. Is that what it is?
Yeah,
Okay,
I think
cool.
so. That's just a good one.
Yeah. Because what happens is a lot of bands will often use the pattern where they go from, say, the D to the B flat. It's it usually uses in like a emotional or kind of like
Yeah.
that kind of feel. But I find if you then take it down to the even further there, it creates that real sadness. So you've got like, and then I find that to be one of the most emotional kind of chord changes. I learned it from a band called Catatonia off of one of their records, and it
With a K.
Cat with a K, yeah, not with a C.
Oh, right.
The Swedish goth band Catatonia, and it was when I first heard it and really noticed it. I almost had a physiological response to like, that's so sad. I could physically feel how sad that is. So yeah, I was like, definitely going to use that. That went on the fridge list.
Yeah. The bread. What's it?
The bread sheet. That went on the bread sheet.
Oh, that's really cool.
So there's specific musical techniques that you could use to elicit.
Yeah, I found that works for me. Yeah.
Cool.
I can't remember what the question was, but it's something about how do you write songs that help other people
Yeah.
through the things. I think like you have to have obviously an element of relatability in what you're writing, so that people can, gain something personal from it, lyrically. Yeah. So it can't be too obscure, I guess, because otherwise people won't really know what you've got about. So it has to be a sort of like human. What's the word? Human relatability.
But then but not too. I suppose some songs are very about one specific thing, but I think songs work well when they are relatable for lots of different reasons as well. So if the song is specific but not too specific, because then you can kind of
it's not so
attribute
much
it to your
about like
own
an actual
situation.
specific situation, but more so even though it is written about a specific situation, it's ambiguous enough that people can apply it to their own lives.
And people can do that with stories as well. So sometimes
it's a
songs are
story.
about
That's what I was
an actual
thinking. It's a story.
story.
Yeah.
And then you can look at it and you can go, well, I don't experience the exact same thing as in the story, but I know what you're talking about. So yeah,
Human
relatability.
condition. That's what I was trying to think of.
Human condition.
Yeah, totally.
So how do you avoid full collapse?
Well, actually, what's quite interesting is that particularly with with writing the album lyrics and bits of the music that I've written for the album, I find that I've actually lent into that. So sometimes I've been writing a lyric and suddenly I've written something that I find that gets across what I feel so happy with how I'm getting something across that it actually has made me kind of cry a bit during the writing process and during the singing process, and then just leaning into that very raw emotion of, wow, this means I've really communicated something that I wanted to, and then living with that feeling for a bit and then going, great, let's now record it, let's get this down, because I feel like I've achieved what I wanted to with this by expressing something that has affected me in an emotional way where I've actually cried a bit from it. So that can actually be quite a useful barometer sometimes of like, yeah, this is getting across for me at least, what I wanted it to, because I'm really feeling this.
Yeah, if you can make yourself cry, then you should be able to make other people cry as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Like Yanni, when Yanni listens to the tracks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's always the good barometer. Is it crying?
Did
or
it
is
make
boring?
Yanni cry?
Yeah. is it boring or is he bawling?
Hey, humble.
All right, so let's talk about creating hope. Now we've talked about making people cry, because we obviously want to. I know your songs are not just about being sad, but they're also about like creating the hope to get through the misery. I'm not going to use that again. That's the last time I'm going to say that. All right. So, and then after we'll go on to some quick fire fan questions, because we've got some questions from the Discord, people wanting to ask about different mental health tools and things like that.
Cool.
So it's easy to focus on the pain. How do you end the songs with that sort of resolve that gets people out of it? And what's the importance of having something to look forward to?
Well, firstly, there are a number of our songs from the past and even a couple on the new album where there isn't necessarily a sense of resolution. We've been a lot more resolution based and solution based in the new album, where a number of the songs they have a real narrative arc. We talked about that you start off in a situation where there's a struggle, and then part 2 is beginning to overcome that, and part 3 is in a much more positive place of looking forward optimistically about that issue. There are still songs that don't necessarily resolve it, but the very practice of creating something out of a negative feeling, out of a destructive feeling, you create something, that is a positive thing to do. So just the notion of us, you write a song and then you sit back and you've recorded it, you think, this is great, I feel really happy about what I've done, even though the song was written about something sad. That can be the cathartic process. It's the actual creation of something from source material that initially was quite destructive in some way.
I guess the cathartic thing, because not everyone knows the lyrics like Vincent, or like knows what the songs are about. So like the music itself as well can move you in a more uplifting cathartic experience, even if you don't know what the subject matter necessarily is. So it's
yeah, exactly. And the instrumentation, the vocal delivery, as you say, even if you haven't quite picked up on the lyrics or the melodies or whatever.
Let's go into fan questions, because there's some quite good ones. So quick and dirty answers as well, if you can.
Quick and dirty.
Quick and dirty.
What do you? I think you said quick and dirty answers.
I did say quick and dirty, quick. Anyway,
okay. I can do dirty.
I didn't mean like that. I just mean smutty. But you can if you want to. So Sugarpunk says, who are musicians or artists that you admire because of their advocacy of views or lifestyles of mental health?
Adam, have you got any? I didn't see this question.
Lifestyle, I admire Keith Richards. No, I mentioned him earlier, but Andrew WK is a really good one. One of his albums has even got like some little spoken word kind of sections between the tracks where he's doing this sort of positive messaging. And he did like a tour of like when it was just him doing speaking tour, and it's like a bit like talking about the sort of stuff we talk on here. But so He seems to practice what he preached. Right?
Is that video? Is that somewhere on?
Probably find some on YouTube. Yeah.
Cool.
So there you go.
Good.
Ben, you got any?
I admire Davey Havok a lot. I think he's always had a really good ethos when it came to music. And then when I finally got a chance to meet him, and he turned out to be such a brilliant, grounded and sort of level person, it really reflected that he's made some good choices over the years. That despite being in a rock band and all the kind of chaos that comes with that, he stayed very stable, and that reflects it in how he was around me, and he's really fit and he's really mentally well, and even actually helped me with some stuff after the tour. I was having a crisis and we had a bit of a chat about it and he solved it for me. I was like, this is amazing. David Havok's now solving my problems.
Do you get the sense he's always been like this, or he's sort of like had to develop after, like, because some people will have to like clean themselves up a lot because of just like being on the road so much, it's so self-destructive? Or do you feel like he's always had this sort of ethos?
My understanding is that he's never really been interested in the destructive side of rock music from an early age. I think. I can't attest to that for sure. But certainly I remember when I first got into the band, when they did Black Sails in the Sunset, I already was aware that he had that sort of lifestyle, and that's like their fourth album. So
a straight edge band. Well, they straight edge. I can't remember.
He's straight edge. I don't know if they all are or if they've all always been. But certainly by like the fourth album, they were. I'm not sure about before then.
Banging songs. I love AFI.
Me too.
Okay, let's have another dirty question.
Another dirty question. So Emma Govers asks, how do you approach your bad mental health days, like the kind of days where it takes effort to even get out of bed? And I appreciate not everybody is going to have these sorts of days, but I would add to that sort of days where you feel like, oh, I'm just rubbish today, can't do this, need to start again, wake up again in the morning or something. It could extend to that.
I find it's really hard to give advice on other people because different people have different situations. I just know, like, if I'm feeling like really sad and can't get out of bed kind of thing, I just know, like, well, I'm not going to feel any better if I do just lay in bed and don't do anything. It's not going to help. So I sort of try and force yourself to do something, like, because I know it's easier said than done, but like it's not going to. I try and do things on like a cost-benefit analysis. It's not going to be beneficial to laying in bed, even if you want to. It's not going to help. So
then you could use the tool of faking or pretending to listen to music so that it forces your next mood. Put Diamond Black on, yeah.
Adam's absolutely right, and I found that in those situations where I slept really badly because I was worried about something, and then part of my brain goes, well, you should probably stay in bed for ages to make sure you get enough sleep. But then I'll just lie there for 3 more hours just not sleeping and worrying about stuff. So on those instances, it's to have that faith that you don't necessarily always need 8 hours sleep to operate properly. And on those days, I've actually got up and done stuff and actually started to be energized by just being active. The chemicals that are released by being active, by doing things. And then that night I feel a bit tired and go to bed early or whatever. But it was much better to have got up and done things. And another thing is to talk to yourself compassionately and go, okay, I do feel quite bad right now. So let's just make it a small goal for today. The small goal for today is to get up and maybe unload the dishwasher, or maybe if you're working on a music project, I'll just set up the session. I won't do any of the music, but I'll just create the session. Or
so that future you can just go straight in. And then you've prepared it for him in the future. So when he comes to sit down, he's like, oh, thanks, past Ben.
Exactly. The old future and past personas. And that can be stuff like, this one guy told me that whenever he didn't feel motivated to go to the gym, he'd just, because it was just down the road from him, he'd walk there with the idea that he doesn't have to go in if he doesn't want to, but just the walk there will be quite nice. And then every time, by the time he got there, he was like, oh, okay, I'll just go in. But he couldn't have motivated himself to do it if it had been like, right, I'm going to the gym for 2 hours. It was just the kindness to say, just walk there and see how you feel when you get there. Stuff like that can really help you get up and just get out, and just doing the small things like I have to write my CV. Oh, okay, well, I've just choose the font today and that's all I'll do. Just that
does take a day though. Don't underestimate.
You're talking to graphic designers.
Yeah. So just doing a small beginning task of the task and giving yourself that leeway to go, look, if I just do that, that's enough.
When
I
you
would say-
when you were asking before, like what tools do you have to help yourself through? I was thinking like more practically, or like more physically.
The
And,
toolbox.
Like, yeah. Well, no, I was
Screwdriver
thinking
and
like
Leatherman.
about like getting a little plastic finger, like you can get like a Halloween ones, and then putting it inside a little matchbox, and then carrying it around with me. And whenever I want, I just go like that and pull my finger out, and it reminded me to pull my finger out all the time, and that made me laugh and cheer me up. So that's my.
I can just imagine you giggling to yourself on a bus somewhere on your own because you've just done that.
That would be the nicest present to give to someone who was struggling with like creative block, wouldn't it? Because actually
Your own
it's
personal
tough.
finger
It's
to
tough
pull
love,
out.
but it's also like you've got this little matchbox finger and you can open it. And then you could always just show them. Or like when you're just like, I've got your back, but so I guess to summarize, never underestimate the power of accomplishment, no matter how small.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very good.
Definitely.
Okay. On that, Venus Doom says, what resources are available to musicians struggling with mental health issues?
Musicians Union's got a lot of stuff. If that's helpful.
Yeah. And when I was on a recent tour, there was in a venue, they actually had leaflets in the dressing room at Club Eiffel in Wales that had some really good pointers actually from other musicians had given these pointers and they collated them in a leaflet.
Cool.
So stuff like that's really useful.
Like a help sheet.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And it's quite rare. It would be nice if venues did that more often.
Yeah, like leaving nice messages for other bands on the walls rather than just like...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that would be good. Maybe we could start like a sticker or something that you guys can leave around in different venues. That's like
That's
a Diamond
a
Black.
great
really.
idea.
You put a
So-
sticker on the wall.
Yeah, and we'll have like 3 points of positivity beneath it or something.
Yeah,
That'd be
but
wicked.
just
Yeah.
no like propaganda or anything. Just positive messages.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah.
like a little Diamond Black on it or something like love from Diamond Black or something. Because then it's like, oh, it's nice, but it's not like someone's destroyed
New
the
album
whole
out
venue.
now.
Yeah, that's, just do like 2 positive things and then a bit of advertisement as well.
Well, for more, listen to our album.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've been to loads of green rooms where it's like someone's just graffitied all over the wall and it's a bit like overwhelming, but it is nice to see positive messages. So that's really cool.
Totally.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, I mean,
that's
there's a couple of others. Are we at time?
Yeah, if we
We are
can,
at
that'd be
time.
great.
Okay. Well, thanks everyone for your questions. We will obviously ask more eventually as time goes on, but we had a hard stop today because Ben is going on holiday.
Yes, indeed. A very short break, for about 4 days to York, which is
Nice.
a very picturesque town in the north of England.
Some
Lovely.
tea.
Oh, yes,
Yorkshire tea.
so that takes us back to the start.
Yeah.
So it'll be full on cups of tea and
Time to contemplate.
yeah, exactly.
How lovely. Well, that's exciting.
Cool.
Have a lovely time.
Thank you very much.
Cool, thank you.
We
Thank
will
you.
see you all next week. We've got some really good stuff coming up. So get excited. The video shoot is taking place in 2 weeks from now, I think. Is it 2 weeks from now? Yeah, 2 weeks today.
Yeah, and if you want to get involved in the fundraiser and get your name in the credits and stuff, then you can go to diamondblackofficial.com.
Yes.
Help.
Thank you so much to everyone who's
Thank you,
donated
guys.
already. It has basically, helped the band a lot. And yeah, we'll see you all next week. Thanks
Cool.
for joining.
Brilliant.
Bye.
Happy Mental Health Week month.
Oh, yeah. I hope we've helped. Yeah.
Yeah.
See ya. Bye.
Drop it a name in the comments if anything here has resonated.
Okay, cool.
Brilliant.
Thank you for joining that episode of Diamond Cast. Don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment if anything in that episode resonated with you at all. It's always nice to carry on the chat at the end of the episode. So please don't forget to leave a comment on YouTube and join us on the Discord because people will be chatting there all week. We are also preparing some really cool episodes for you over the course of the next 4 weeks. And don't forget to join us during the first week of May for the Fall into the Silence video and all the fallout from that I'm going to be reporting on before and after the entire shebang. So I will see you then.